What's up, everybody? This is Dave with Dave's E-Bikes, and today we're going to take a nice Sunday ride on the Puckipuppy Boxer ST step-through electric bike. So we're back out here on this beautiful Sunday in the northeastern United States. You cannot ask for better weather. And today we are cruising on the Puckipuppy Boxer ST step-through electric bike. This bike does have 750 nominal watt hub motor with a cadence sensor, big 26 by 4 inch fat tires. Now I will say, if you're wondering why it's been a little bit since my first ride on this bike, I don't know if you picked up on it, but there was a couple things that I noticed on this bike that I actually reached out to Puckipuppy about, and it was really about the way that my front tire seemed to pull to the right. So I reached out to Puckipuppy. I also checked out the rim and the tire, and it definitely looked like there was a problem with either the rubber on the tire or the tube in the tire, because it just didn't seem to spin without a wobble. Went upside down. When riding the bike, there was definitely a little wobble and a pull to the right side, which, as I'm sure your guess, can be a little nerve-wracking. To their credit, Puckipuppy responded to my questions quickly, and customer support sent me out a new tire set, which basically included the tire, the tube, and actually the lining that goes around the rim. After replacing the rubber and the tube, I believe we are 100 times better on this bike now. There's definitely not a pull. Listen, it is a 26 by 4 inch fat tire bike. You always feel the tires, but I do not feel like I'm being pulled to the right side of the road like I did on my first initial ride. So kudos to Puckipuppy and their customer service. I know there's always a lot of questions about some of these bikes that are mail order, but kudos to Puckipuppy and their customer service. They got back to me very quickly, shipped me out a new tire and tube extremely quickly. I was able to replace that tube and tire, which is a very simple process. I may even make a little video on that. And we are back out on the road for this nice Sunday ride and feeling very good on this bike. So a couple comments that I heard from viewers after the first video and the TikTok or shorts that I shared. Some people were a little worried about fitting on this bike. Well, I can tell you that as somebody who is 6 foot tall, 300 pounds, this bike holds my weight perfectly. I do not feel like I am too compressed, that my legs are too close to my body. I do have the seat height up a little bit. I could go much higher if I did feel that my knees were a little too compressed. But to be honest with you, I'm feeling pretty good on this bike. It's a very nice bike. Now, I've been on bikes that, you know, had a longer wheelbase, but I've also been on bikes that have had a shorter wheelbase, and you definitely feel a lot more compressed when you're riding them. This is a very nice, almost like a Goldilocks style bike, where it's sort of just right. I feel like it's just the right balance of seating position with these straight handlebars. A lot of people do not like these straight handlebars. On this bike, they're very comfortable. You can still see that my arms are bent at the elbows a little bit, so I'm not reaching, but I also have very easy, quick, decisive turning ability on here. So far, I can tell you that on my rides, this has been a very, very comfortable bike. The full suspension is great, even at somebody who's 300 pounds. It takes me and some bumps. It has a very wide seat, so it's a very comfortable seat for those rides. As far as noisiness on the road, the motor is pretty quiet. I will say the wheels, just like any fat tire e-bike, the wheels are a little loud. So most of the noise that you're hearing, if you can hear it through my microphone, most of the noise that you're going to pick up or hear while you're riding is actually the wheels, not the motor. That being said, there is one thing that I already sort of don't like about the bike, and that is that the rear bumper, mudguard, whatever you want to call it, definitely makes a little bit of noise. It definitely rattles. So when you hit a bump, you're going to hear the rattling from that. You're definitely going to hear the rattling from that rear bumper. I'm going to see if I can tighten it or fix it, but I did notice, and I think I said this in the first video, that a lot of people seem to take that bumper off, or both bumpers off, or they just never put them on to begin with. Don't know if you could do that with having the rear cargo rack, but most of the videos and reviews that I've seen on this bike, when they take the bumper off, they're also taking off the rear cargo rack. But I like having a rear cargo rack in the event that you want to throw something, you got to run some errands, you want to throw something on the back, you can. Having that rear cargo rack is nice. And in order to have that rear cargo rack, I believe, I'll double check, but I believe you have to have the bumper on. Now I will say, I have reviewed a few of these full suspension bikes recently, and my backside is definitely getting used to them. It's making me a little spoiled for when I have to sit on a commuter style or a hardtail electric bike, a bike with no rear suspension, because it's just a lot more comfortable. So as we take our little ride here on Sunday and enjoy this perfect weather, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this Puckipuppy Boxer ST. 5 pedal assist modes that can get you, I think, 28 miles an hour. I have to look and see if this bike can be unlocked. I only really unlock it for testing purposes. Most of the time, if you've watched my channel at all, I am not really a speed demon. So typically, I just enjoy a nice leisurely cruise as opposed to trying to max out each bike to their highest speed. The other thing that's interesting about this bike is the display's a little interesting because of how they use your battery and pedal assist level indicators, I guess. It's a very interesting indicator. Looks almost like a boomerang style. The display is very easy to read, even in the sunlight with my sunglasses on. As far as battery is concerned, there's a pretty decent battery indicator there. I don't know if you can see this in the camera or not. It's a pretty decent battery indicator with some colored lights. I'm going to stop right here, see if I can get a nice close-up, let this car go by. See this indicator right there? This is what we're looking at right here. And basically, you can see that it's almost like a boomerang where, you know, when you're lit up here, this is your full battery up here, at number 6. So there is a counter, like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I have not put it to the test yet. I am thinking about range test on this bike, a full range test for a full battery. And let's see what this bike can really do. As we get up to our hill test here, you can see we cruising downhill at about 30 miles an hour. I'm going to throttle only right here. Kick this up to 5. Now I will say, based on some of the reviews and things that I've seen, this bike does not actually have the best torque, which unfortunately also means that it doesn't have the best hill climbing capability. Now I will say, we have not dropped below 12. Now this hill that we just went on is a nice long incline. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip around, and we're going to take it to the same grade, which I believe is, I'm not very good with grading and things, I'll have to look it up, but I believe is a 17% incline. So that being said, now we're going to try, instead of a 17% incline that is a very long, slow and steady incline, this hill in the opposite direction is a little more straight up and down. So let's see what we do here. As you can see, we made it to 25, but now we're starting our incline. This bike is definitely slowing down. Are we going to make it to the top where it's 6 miles an hour? So we will make it. It just will not be extremely fast. So listen, I'm giving that credit. That is a very difficult hill. I have had other bikes that do not make it. But that hill right there is all about torque and momentum. Whereas the other hill is mostly about torque, not as much momentum, because of the fact that it's really a long drawn out hill. So we're gonna hit it again. Might as well do it again. Not only that, but you can see just in the speedometer, I don't know if you can see the speedometer here, but you can see on this, this is a little bit more drastic of a drop. I'm gonna see if I can straighten out a little bit for you guys. This is a little more of a drastic drop. Gets us to about 30 miles an hour, right there, 31, 32. On that downhill, which then is a nice slow incline that gradually gets us up there. But to be honest with you, I've had bikes that slow down to 7 or 6 miles an hour on this incline. So the fact that this does not go below 10 is actually a very good indicator. It's a very good indicator of how decent this motor is. And keep in mind, this is not a light bike. I'll have to look at the exact, I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen, just how heavy this bike is, but I think we're verging on close to 80 pounds for this bike. So when you're pulling 80 pounds plus a 300-pound rider, that really kind of shows off just how good this motor is. You see a little fruit stand over the side of the road here, selling some pumpkins as we get closer to spooky season. So this does have a cadence sensor, which if you've never ridden a cadence sensor or a torque sensor, the cadence sensor basically, as long as you're moving your pedals, the motor will give you the maximum amount of power for that pedal assist level. Whereas the torque sensor senses the amount of pressure you're putting in the pedals. Basically, how hard are you pedaling? And the harder you pedal, the more power it gives based on that pedal assist level. So if you're basically pedaling 100 or 110% of that pedal assist level, you're only getting the maximum of that pedal assist level. If you're pedaling, say 30%, then you're only gonna get 30% of the power for that pedal assist level. So that's the difference between a torque sensor and a cadence sensor. This bike does have a cadence sensor in it. So pretty much as soon as you start pedaling, it will give you the maximum amount of power that pedal assist level gives. Torque sensor reminds me a little more about like riding a standard bike. I don't know if you heard that. That was my bumper rattling around back there. Torque sensor gives you more feeling like you're riding a standard bike, whereas cadence sensor, I feel like cadence sensor is what e-bikes, especially when they first started, what e-bikes are known for, and that's just basically you pedal and it will assist you as much as that motor will give you. So most of the time in this bike, I feel very comfortable riding in pedal assist level 3. That keeps me somewhere between 18 and 20 miles an hour. If you're climbing up a hill, it might lower you down to 15, 14, in which case you could always pop it up to pedal assist 4, pedal assist 5 for that particular hill. But all in all, this is a pretty great electric bike. Has a couple little issues that we're going to try to work out. I'm going to see if I can tighten up that bumper a little bit. We fixed the front tire issue, and this thing rides smooth as butter. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on this Puckipuppy Boxer ST. Coming soon, we'll be doing a range test on this bike to see what you can get throttle only in pedal assist level 3. That's how I like to do my range tests. We keep the bike in pedal assist level 3. Now, on this bike, I believe it's going to go to the maximum of 20 miles an hour, regardless of what pedal assist level we're on. So it's going to be an interesting test. Stay tuned to the channel for that video and more videos on the Puckipuppy Boxer ST Step Through Fat Tire electric bike. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed taking this ride with me today. Hope you enjoyed testing out this bike. If you did, like I said, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in purchasing a Puckipuppy Boxer ST or any other Puckipuppy bike for that matter, you can click on the link in the description below, or feel free to scan the QR code that has periodically shown at the bottom of this video throughout this video. That will take you to the latest and greatest pricing, as well as we'll show you all of the specs for this and every other Puckipuppy bike. This has been Dave with Dave's E-Bikes on a Sunday ride on the Puckipuppy Boxer ST electric bike. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time, and until then, keep on pedaling.